Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Empowering Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm Glenn Harper.
Julie Smith.
What's going on, Julie?
I was just saying we're on our fourth winter.
It
And
feels great, doesn't it?
man, I just want spring to get here and stay so we can slide right into summer.
How's those new glasses treating you?
I think I can see better.
That's pretty good. I'm blind as a bat. It's
Not as
awesome.
not good for you.
Not good? No, it's something we got. Well, we've got a great guest lined up today. I'm going to do my best to do my intro here and see how that turns out. And if I mispronounce anything, please, everybody, this is a disclaimer to protect the innocent. I'm not good on big words, so I'm going to do my best. All right?
Okay.
All right. Well, I'd like to introduce Olga Hurtado, founder and CEO of NeatBooks LLC. All of our listeners know I have a soft spot for fellow bean counters, and here we go again. Olga loves nothing better than assisting small business owners, especially Spanish-speaking entrepreneurs, especially in South Florida, to achieve the American dream of not only being an entrepreneur, but fully participating in the entrepreneurial experiment that the USA is available for all those who know its secrets. She understands the pitfalls that entrepreneurs have, as well as how hard it is if there is a language barrier. Olga's a feisty one. She's recognized early on in her journey that being from Barranquilla, Colombia, a woman speaking only Spanish and having twins, the game of corporate America would be a challenge. Did she wither and give up? No. She pivoted like any self-respecting entrepreneur and decided to take her talents to South Beach and hang out her shingle. Olga has the flexibility to make the impact on her clients as well as being present for her family. I always say taxes and accounting are never going anywhere, so subliminally, she must have heard the calling to start her business. From Colombia to Miami, what a great journey that will surely have many more turns and opportunities. The struggle is what keeps the things real, and boy, has she had some. Please welcome Olga, a.k.a. La Cusa, to the Empowering Entrepreneurs Podcast. Hi, Olga. Thanks for being on our show.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction, Glenn. Let me just correct you just right there.
Please.
It's Barranquilla. Okay. So when you say Barranquilla, you have to remember Shakira, Sofia Vergara. They come from that city too.
Okay.
Okay. And my nickname when I was little, it's La Cuca. Okay. So it's pretty weird.
I love it. There's a longer word, there's a shorter version, and I knew I would butcher it. So thank you for helping me through that. But I thought I'd throw that in there because I believe that has a very warm spot in your heart. So that's why I threw it in there.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction and thank you for having me here.
Well, great. Well, we always are part of the fun of what we do here is to try to get to know our guests a little bit and then start on the journey to see what things they had to overcome. Because as all our listeners know, if you're an entrepreneur, there's all kinds of, the list is long and distinguished of the problems we have and the pitfalls and opportunities and the successes and all those things. And you, from my deep research on you, you've had a lot of cool ones and a lot of not so cool ones, but albeit they are, and I think it's helped define you. So it says you grew up in this, can you say that town again in Colombia?
Barranquilla.
Barranquilla, where you attended La Ensenada High School, where you excelled in volleyball. Is that a true statement?
Yes, it is a true statement. I attended La Enseñanza. Remember the N in Spanish, it has a little like a hat on top. So it's
They
like
didn't have the hat.
N. Yeah.
I didn't see that. All right. Well,
Nor would you have known what to do with
Right.
the hat, but
I
that's
would
okay.
But you know what?
it-
Funny story here. That school is the same school that Shakira attended. Take note of that.
no kidding.
Yes, I am not kidding.
How about that? Well, when you grew up there, I think you had some siblings, and then and you were born and raised there your whole life, correct?
Correct. I came to the US when I was 23.
All right. So there you're going to high school. Were you a overachiever as a child, or were you kind of just chilling out, or what was the defining factor that growing up in your family, what had made you who you are today?
Well, I think what made me who am I today is the fact that my parents were entrepreneurs
Mhm.
and they had this HVAC, I think is that how you call it in
Yes.
English? Okay, this HVAC company in Colombia, and it was like a pretty big one. They have more like 50 employees, and it was like very good. It was doing very well. Well, my dad has had an accident, and all of a sudden the business collapsed. I was 11 when that happened. So at the beginning, it was like, chaos, confusion. My dad, he fractured his skull, so everything changed in our lives. And my siblings and I had to go to work very early on. Like I was 16 when I got my first job because we needed to help my mom, financially because they didn't have like, the business anymore. So I think that shaped me in the path of understanding the obstacles that any entrepreneur can face when they have a business and they are not ready for this bad times. Let's call it that way, because in Colombia we call it the vacas flacas. So it's like the skinny cows. When the skinny cows come, you have to be prepared for that, and we weren't. And that's basically how I shaped my mind. I was like, okay, this is not good. Like if you have a business, you should be ready for the good and the bad.
Did your was your mom part of the business as well, or just your
Yes, she
dad? So
was.
they're both
Yes.
involved. Okay. And how many siblings do you have?
We are, well, for my father's side, we have a sister. From my mother's side, we have another sister. And we are three from my mom
Three.
and my dad.
So the three of you all of a sudden wake up one day, business is going away, you got to figure out how to survive, and this is what you do. You got to go out and work and make some money and bring it in.
Exactly.
Was your dad able to, was he, able to communicate and hang out and stuff, or he just couldn't work, or how did that go?
At the beginning, he couldn't. He was like in the process of recovery. It took around like a year and a half. But the thing is that he fractured his skull. Okay. And I never forget what the neurologist said to us. He told us the brain is like a library, and you start piling up all the books, but you don't have any records of how you did it. You just put the books in certain order. And all of a sudden, an earthquake comes, all of the books are on the floor, but you have no record how to put it again back again in the same position.
Got it.
So that was the way he used to explain to us that my father was not going to be the same.
Wow. Well, that has to be hit hard at that age. And then you have to then figure out how to survive. Was it working gave you some solace and purpose, or was it the volleyball to be on a team sport? What helped you get through all that?
Well, I think my mom, she was a rock. She basically like flourished. We didn't know her. Like when this happened, we knew our mom. We knew the type of mom we had. And I think that was like our inspiration. Looking at her, like she basically she redid herself. She had to do a lot of things that she wasn't doing before. And for us, it was like, oh my mom, oh my God, if she can do it, we can do it. And that was the way that we did it. My mom, she's such a fighter. And there were days that we didn't even have electricity, or we didn't have water to take a bath. Can you imagine after having it all? So my mom used to wake up early, and she talked to the neighbors, and the neighbors threw some hose, from the garden, and she like got water for us to take a bath, for us to be able to go to school, things like that. Okay. So she was very resilient. And I think my mom, she was like the one who, made us be together, like the glue for all of us during those times.
That's amazing, right? That's how it is. So again, most entrepreneurs, they're like selling newspapers, what do you say, Julie?
Painting
Paper rocks,
rocks,
whatever. And here you are, you're full on working to support the family, and everybody's pitching in. Your mom's leading from the front, showing you what to do, give everybody inspiration. That's what it's all about. Well, at some point, um, you're like, well, I guess I'm at that age where I graduate high school, and you said, well, I got to go to college, and it looks like you enjoyed higher education at the. I'm going to try to do this right. University. What there's a lot of letters there. Autonoma de Caribe in the sleepy town of Soledad, Colombia. And you got a degrees in finance and international business. I know I didn't say that
Yes.
right.
Okay, well, more or less. It's autónoma, but that's okay, because before the autónoma, I was planning to become a writer. and I
Mm.
wanted to write stories for to become like, the screenwriter for movies and stuff like that. You were young, you were a dreamer, and I actually went to college in Medellin for, to get that degree. And my mom told me one day, like, hey, wake up, reality hits you. And unfortunately, in this country, and we were in the middle, like in a very hard financially situation in Colombia, it was like very hard. So she told me, you know what? I don't think this is going to be a good path for you. So wake up and come back to Barranquilla. And that's when I decided to pursue my finance degree. And I did it because I didn't want to be an accountant. Can you imagine?
This heresy. I can't believe you're actually saying that, but that's okay.
Yeah, I told my sister I don't want to be an accountant, and she was like, "Okay, why don't you pursue finance?" Oh, okay, that's fine. I will do finance then. So here I am, being an accountant in the United States. How
Get
funny
sucked
life is.
in. Well, it's funny about this, and again, I've got to summarize all these things and little things, and we delve off in these little things. But like, so you get your degree, and then you decide 13 years later, you know what? Let's get an MBA from Nova Southeastern University in Miami. Then let's wait another 3 years, and let's get a, master's degree in accounting from the same state university. Like, that is a lot of schools split up. I assume a lot of things happen, married kids, all the things, but the ability to be an entrepreneur and be a mom and go back to school, that's really hard. Like,
It is.
how did you manage that? Was it there a lot of coffee, or what did you have to do to make that
Well,
happen?
wait, you're jumping ahead
Oh no, I
though.
was just going through the school.
Well, so you went to school where you grew up, but then it sounds like you graduated college and that's when you came to the United States.
Actually, I came before I graduated because
Okay.
I met my husband and we were like, okay, let's get married. I got married very young at 23, and I hadn't finished school in Colombia. So I was like, you know what? I don't care. This is the country of the opportunities. I will find time to study, to go back to school. So life happened. I had to, work and all that you need to do in the United States because you have to pay bills. I got pregnant. It was well, I got pregnant first on 2008, but I had a miscarriage. They were twins. And we were like, very sad of the situation. But then I got pregnant again in 2000, in 2008 in December. And they were twins too. Like I was destined to have twins.
Whew,
Okay.
whew.
So after I had the twins, my mom received a phone call from the university in Colombia telling her, "Hey, if she doesn't finish, she's gonna lose everything." And she called me, "What are you gonna do? You need to finish school." I was just, I just had twins. You know how hard that is having twins
Impossible.
in this country alone with my husband.
Hmm.
So I told my mom, I'm sorry, I cannot do it. And then we're like, there's this opportunity to do it online and we can help you. My mom and dad, they were gonna help me do it. And I said yes. I was like, listen, I don't wanna lose everything that I already did, like few years. And what we did is my dad, he used to like pick up the homework from the university. He went to like they're called cafe internet because my dad didn't know how to use computers.
Mhm.
He made them scan the homework. I got the homework. I called my mom and I called my dad. I told him the answers. This is what the responses are for all this homework. Then he went to the cafe internet, made someone transcribe it or scan it to my mom. My mom transcribed it. Then she sent it to me in a Word document and I submitted the homework.
Wow.
Wow.
That's how I graduated from the university in Colombia.
You can look back at that, and anybody can say they had it harder. I don't know how, but that is awesome.
So
I know.
your parents still in Colombia?
Yes, my mom, my dad passed away in 2023.
Oh,
Ah,
sorry to hear that. And how about your siblings?
Well, my siblings, they don't live in Colombia either. They live in Honduras, which is a pretty funny thing to say because people from Honduras, they actually migrate out of Honduras. They went to Honduras.
everybody's got a
Eh,
calling.
yeah, but you know what? There's this is the it's entrepreneurial spirit that we have, and I think that we inherited from our parents. My dad, he was like this free spirit of being always an entrepreneur. He didn't want to be like an employee or anything like that. He wanted to be an entrepreneur. And before he died, he was like, don't ever go back to employment. Do whatever you can to be the entrepreneur you are. Don't go and have anything related to employment. He said that to the three of us. And none of us is an employee. The three of us have companies.
It's funny. I always, and you probably do the same thing when you consult with clients and they're pondering leaving corporate world and starting their own business. It is like 99.9999% of the time that once you jump to the entrepreneurial side, you cannot go back to a real job. You just
No.
can't. Some people do, and they're totally defeated. And some people probably tried to be an entrepreneur and it really wasn't their thing, and they go back to the comfort. But once you make that commitment, it's so hard to go back.
It is so hard because you are so used to, handling your time, managing, your own schedule, and going back to that. I'm not saying it's bad, like
No,
there are
no.
people that they are born to be employees and they're great employees. Okay.
We need those people.
Yes, you
We
got
need
to be.
those people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everybody needs.
And everybody needs it. But we as entrepreneurs, when we go back, I think we lose like a light within us. There's something that shuts off. And that's what my parent always told us. My dad always told us because he was like, I did that and I lost it. I did it and I lost it, and I would do everything that I have. I would give everything to have it back. So don't lose it. Fight for your business. Do whatever you need to do, but keep the entrepreneurial path.
So you're graduate, you have twins, you're married in Miami with twins, and you're finishing your degree with via your dad to you to your mom. And so what happens next?
Well, I graduated and I couldn't go because my twins, they were too little and I was here by myself. I didn't have anyone to leave my kids with. So my dad went for me and he actually, you know, received the diploma and everything. He was very happy that day. And I actually had some pictures of him. He was so thrilled. And I think it was his graduation. That's what I think. He felt it that way.
He was living vicariously through you, I'm sure.
Well, I'm
That's
sure
what
he
he
felt
did.
like he did a lot of the work, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
Yeah,
he
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 did.
was involved.
You
A
know, it's
hundred percent.
you know, and this is a side note. So I'm trying to figure out like a a Spanish speaking person has all the vernacular down and just knows how to do that. Now you have to learn English. Your English is fantastic.
Thank
I
you.
am I do not think I could ever pick up. I would have to speak and study Spanish for decades to try to be able to flow like that. Did you find English easy to pick up or was it very challenging?
Well, you know what? Our parents in Colombia, they actually like encourage us to take English as a second language, and they enroll us in all these English classes. But when I got here, I realized that my dad and my mom, they lost all their money because when I got here, I didn't know how to say even hello. I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? you know and I used to work in a shoe company, and I had a Chinese boss. He was so nice with me, and he was always encouraging me to learn to do stuff. And he was always telling me, you're so smart, why don't you speak English, why don't you learn, let go that fear. And he was always telling me that. And one day I woke up and I was like, you know what? I'm going to enroll in the college. I'm going to go to Miami-Dade College and I'm going to enroll in college and I'm going to learn English. I'm tired of it. And I went to Miami-Dade College and I enrolled for the English for academic purposes. And I took 2 years of college classes, like art history and pottery and all that stuff. But I needed to learn, like practice it more and more in the conversational side, probably had more grammar than
Mhm.
conversation. So, and I took accent reduction classes because if I was gonna speak English, I was gonna do it well. Like I wanted to be, like you guys, like you, how you talk, and that's how I did it. But he was the one who like pushed me. Oh, you're so smart. Why don't you speak English? Oh, I cannot speak with you, but you're so smart. You should learn English. And that's what encouraged me to do it.
And that's, like I said, it's got to be so hard to, you have a slight amount, then you come here, you're trying to raise a family, trying to work, you don't speak the language, and you're like, that's it. I got to figure this out. You dedicate 2 years to try to build your craft, and then here you are. At what point when you're doing this, did you like say, this working for somebody is not for me. I've got to do something on my own. Now, I'm guessing it was two things. One is you had this need to help people, right? It's very prominent on your bios and stuff that you wanted to help people that needed that kind of help, that needed the language barrier and to understand the entrepreneurial side. But it also had to be something where you needed the freedom so you could live your life with your family, do the things as well. How did those two come together to make you make that decision?
Well, I used to work in a Spanish company, and the boss that I had there, he was amazing. He was one of my mentors too, and his name is Carlos. And he actually, like, when he resigned from his position, I was like so sad. And all of a sudden, all his work was, handed over to me. And when I asked for the raise, I was like, you know what? I'm doing his job. I'm plus mine. Can I have a raise, please? And they said no, and they fired me. That day, that
Wow.
was the day I decided I was not going to work for anyone else, because I spent 8 years in that company waiting for me to grow, and to probably give more of who I am, what I do. And they just, I don't know, belittle me because of
Crazy.
that. um and they told me other things that are like, very frustrating, or they were frustrating, but they were actually like, like they pushed me too, like, oh, you know what, because of a woman, oh, no problem, I'm a woman but I'm strong, don't worry, I can do it. And I took my box, they give you this box so you can put everything in. I thought you see only that type of, situations in the movies.
Yep.
That actually happened to me. Like I took my box with everything in. I went to my car, and when I sat down in my car, I was like, you know what? This is the time that if I'm gonna make empanadas, I'm gonna make the best empanadas in town. But I'm not gonna work for anyone else. And that's how I started my journey. Like, what do I do? How do I do it? Because accounting was not my first option. And when it came to me, it was like an opportunity to do a freelance. And I took the opportunity because I said to myself, what do I have to lose? Nothing. I have the experience, I know how to do it, I'm good at it. And I started working freelance for a CPA friend of mine, and they started giving me clients, and that's how I started, and that's how it became NeatBooks right now.
It's funny. Everybody, the siren call of the accounting. Nobody wants to do it because it's, it just totally makes you put in this box that you're always this accountant. But at the end of the day, you know, what you do is not who you are, right? Even
No.
though there's a lot of cross thing because you look at things through a different lens. But again, I'd imagine it's not just about the accounting. You do some advising, you do some tax work, and you help, again, business owners navigate the landscape of an entrepreneur, which is that's not what people think accountants do, right? But
Right.
it's one of the results that you do if you do your job well. So that's what that's all about, Julie.
Well, I can't get there from here. But what what did your husband do? Was he
My
also an
husband,
entrepreneur, or was he? Yeah.
no, my husband is the employee type of guy.
Okay.
He loved to be an employee. He used to work in Telemundo, which is a Spanish broadcast.
Mhm.
And he worked there for 13 years. And in 2023, in January, they did this massive um, layoffs, and he was one of them. And at the beginning, he was very concerned and worried about it. And I told him, listen, you can work with us. Like, we can do something together.
You
And
sucked them
since,
in.
yeah,
Oh,
Oh man. Oh man.
familiar.
Can I talk to him? No, I'm just kidding. So what does he do? Is he learning accounting? Like, what is his role?
No, he's actually helping us with everything related to project management tasks, or everything that is workflows and keeping, like avoiding the bottlenecks and systems in place and creating pipelines and creating the processes. He's a very well structured, probably more than me, and he's very squared. So I was like, this is the perfect job for you.
I thought he was going to be the face of the organization, bring some, respect and credibility to the place. No, that's too funny. Well, is he liking this? And this is the reason I
He-
asked that, because it's twofold. Like, professionally, this is your thing. Now he was doing his thing. Now you got to do a thing together. It gets a little blurry, and then you got to go home at night, right? And that is a challenge. So how did you determine what those boundaries and navigate that so it doesn't, as as an entrepreneur, it consumes you, right? It becomes everything in your life, and you can't do that when you got a significant other in the business as well. You have to have those boundaries. How did you guys set those up?
Well, you don't have to.
You have to.
Let's hear what she has to say.
well, we don't have to, but we do. We have a rule. When the computer is off, no more questions. That's
That's a
it.
good rule. Does he
So
keep it on
do
all
you
the
walk
time
around with your laptop at
just to
home?
make
Or
sure?
No, we don't walk
Question.
around with the laptops,
There's a
but the,
question.
the computers are there. And if we're working from home, and you get so focused on that, and there's no ending. There's need to be an end in the day. And he works from home. And if we don't do that, then we're gonna be consumed only by work, 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 and that's not life. And I always tell him, my computer is off. No more questions. When I turn it on tomorrow, you ask me any question.
So you kind of lead that, because that you're kind of enforce that limit, which is good. So that's
Yes.
awesome.
so you have twins, boy, girl, boy, boy.
Girl, girl.
Oh, geez. And you are in the throes of it, if I can do math, which isn't my strong suit, but
Yeah, good luck.
you're in the throes of those teenage years, right?
Yes, I am. They are 15 now. And well, they actually they're really good. I think the teenage girls, when you have like a very good relationship with them and open conversations, but with rules and guidelines at home, they become a really nice people to hang with.
So I have an 11-year-old, and I'm going to take this clip and replay it for her every time in the next 6 years for her to remind her that I'm not the only one. But yes,
It's funny. Kids and young, they need to know what the boundaries are. They need to know what the expectations are, and they can thrive in that. It's when they don't know, they're always probing to try to figure
Yes,
that out. But once they know the framework to operate in, and you hold true to that, I think everybody can thrive. And that's what most people probably miss out these days, is actually being able to tell the
definitely.
kid no, like, or this is the
Definitely.
limit.
The thing is that also, I think Latina moms, we are very strong with our kids. And
No, that is totally a
I
stereotype.
mean,
That
I
is
think
not
I
true.
am
That
too.
is not
Maybe I
true.
can,
no,
What are
no,
you
no.
talking about? I would never guess that. That's not true.
And I think more in this country, because
Oh yeah.
you have that responsibility.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
you come to this country and you respect the laws and you respect everything here, and you have to pass that on to your child. And when your children understand that and that responsibility, they understand that it's not only like, oh, we are here and we are entitled. No, we earned this. Okay,
Right.
it's not for free, and they respect that. If you teach them that, and they learn how to respect that part, they will do it. And that's part of our responsibility as Latinos immigrants here in this country. And my girls, that's what I tell them. I didn't come, in a canoe or something like that. No, not at all. But everything here, don't take it for granted.
I
And
think that holds true throughout, though. And I think, I try to teach my girls the exact same thing, like earning it, respecting it, not being entitled. And I can, relate so much with you with that. And I think, that holds true. And those girls, man, you got to hold true and steady on all those things.
You know,
exactly.
it's funny, the things that a lot of people take for granted what you had gone through that, and a lot of people that have immigrated here, even the initial settlers and stuff, like it's the dream, like this is what makes America great is we have a framework that if you want to, you can succeed. You just got to want
Definitely.
to. And it is truly a privilege to be able to do that. And when you can teach that to the next generations, don't take this for granted. I mean, that's a pretty cool thing. I think your daughter's going to be amazing entrepreneurs someday.
Well, I want to know, do they work in the office
Yeah.
in their free time?
No,
Mm.
What?
Get them
they
on
don't like
payroll.
it. They
My
don't
kids
like
are
it.
coming. Next week is spring break, and they're coming in to work in the office to earn it.
The thing is that my kids are musicians and
Oh,
they were born with something, okay?
this was
And
your artistic thing that you didn't
I
pursue,
think so. I think
probably.
so. And my husband is he also draws very well. So he they were always showing this artistic thing when they were little, and at the age of 3, yes, 3, I realized that I needed to do something. And I talked to my husband and we enrolled them in piano lessons when they were 3. And actually they
Wow.
became like really good. And when they were 5, well, my husband, when I got laid off, we decided to do something with them in the afternoons because, we didn't want to spend the whole afternoon with them. And I found this amazing program here in Miami. It's called the Miami Music Project. And it's actually free music, like a free music academy, let's call it that way. It's free of tuition, so they can go 3 times a week. Okay, and it's 2 hours. Mondays, it was Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and they learn how to play violin. So they've been there for 10 years now,
Wow.
and this program has gave them a lot of has given them a lot of opportunities. They went to Michigan, they went to Yola, they even played with Maestro Dudamel from California. So they are in that artistic world. And I told them, listen, I read this book from Arnold Schwarzenegger. I loved it, the 7 rules. And I told them, listen, Arnold says that you have no plan B. There's only one plan. It's plan A. So if you're gonna be a musician, you better be the best of it, like the best one. Okay. So because there's no plan B. So that's what they are deciding. They are deciding to pursue the music career, which is amazing. Fine. I don't have a problem. Okay. But they have to do it. They have to do it well. It's not like, oh, they the only musician in TikTok. No, no, no. It's gonna be a good one.
Well, geez, I feel like you can have them show up at the office and play for the staff and put on mini concerts. You could probably pay them, deduct the tuition, have a good time with that, and put them on the hot seat. Of course, your staff might think they're being tortured. It's hard to tell. Uh, so, as you're doing this business, you decided you go on your own. You're subbing for this one accountant, and then you decide, look, I'm going to hang my shingle. And now you've got a crap ton of employees, and how was that? Like, was it scary for you, or was it just like you're moving with purpose? You knew exactly your business model, and you grab 10 clients. As soon as you get too busy, you hire somebody else, go grab 10 new ones. Like, how did you scale this thing and grow to know that this is what you wanted to do to have your company this size?
Well, actually, the scaling of the business have been more organically than I looking for it. Okay. During the pandemic, I learned something, and it was that people were not ready for tough times. And I was not ready for tough times. Okay. So I started saving and I created these buckets. So those buckets helped me like escalate my business because I was saving for this and I was saving for this and I was getting ready for that growth. I envisioned the growth, not that I pursued it. It just came in and I said yes because I was ready. The thing with growing that way is because when you growth without a structure, it's very dangerous for your business. Okay, so having to create this structure every time that I had to these clients, because I have like a niche very specific, which is we take care of franchise owners or franchisors, or these people that have like multi-entity businesses, like 20, 30, 40 businesses. So when I was getting ready for that, I realized that I needed structure. Not that thought about it in 2015. I didn't know that. In 2022, when I realized what my niche was, I said, okay, now I need to structure it this way. And that's how I did it. But it was painful, because I had to like make decisions and then go back. Oh no, this doesn't work. And then make another decision and then go back.
How integral was your dad in regards to, you starting out and having to make some of those decisions and go back? And I just, both your parents probably had been through a lot of what you were going through.
Well, actually, my dad told me one day, "You're so smart, you don't need me." And I was like, "Really?"
Job well done, Dad. Yeah.
Thank you, Papi. No, he was actually like always telling me the only thing you need is to don't overthink your decisions. That's the only thing you need to do because the more you think about it, the less you're gonna do. So, and that's something, and that's something funny because this past week, someone asked me, "How do you make your decisions?" And I was like, "I do it with my stomach." And I said it in Spanish. I know in English it's with your gut.
Yep.
Okay. So, every human being always makes the decision with their gut. When you fall in love, you feel it in your stomach. You feel the butterflies, when when you have fear, you feel it in your gut. You have to rush to the bathroom because you feel it. It's not your brain, it's not your heart. Okay? So, my dad was always telling me, "What does your gut tell you? Listen to it." And I was like, "Okay, that's what I'm going to do." That's how I got married.
It's funny the struggle of the entrepreneur of going with your gut, what the world's telling you to do, what other people are telling you to do. You know what you think you to do, but then you're not sure. And eventually, once you make the decision, swift and furious, and go, you really are committed, and you really can't take that back. You got to keep going, and that's where your swift decisions as an entrepreneur. We're always joke about you're always pivoting. There is
Yeah,
no straight line. It's just
no,
you're trying to draw a squiggly all the time and put out the
definitely.
fires.
Definitely. And that's how entrepreneurial life is. There's no joke, there's no straight line.
There's
No,
not. I just keep thinking I messed up on the pivot to go to Miami.
yeah, that's the thing. Do you ever have any desire to move back to Colombia or have a second residence there? You're totally USA now, and this is where you're at?
Well, I'm 100% in USA now. I of course go to Colombia because I decided in 2022 to open a virtual office in Colombia. So right now we have half of the staff here in the US and half of the staff in Colombia. And but it's not in my city. Okay, it's not in
Okay.
Barranquilla, it's in Medellin. And that happened like coincidentally because I met someone and that person, we clicked, so that happened just because. So the reason why I don't think I'm gonna be moving to Colombia anytime soon is because I have my business here. My girls are, starting their
Mhm.
lives. I don't know where they're gonna go. So, but when I grow older, probably I would think about living the Colombian dream for the old people.
Which is
Well, they used to live in these beautiful farms, with animals and with the mountains and great weather. It's not cold, it's not hot. Okay. So it's in the mountains of Colombia. They're very nice. Where this the coffee and all that. So that's the dream of every Colombian to go back and live there that way.
I got so the folks that you open up your virtual office, are they working on the work that you do in the US?
Yes.
You open up division to do Colombian accounting and taxes and such.
No, I'm not interested in that.
Sounds yeah, it sounds
Particularly
hard.
because, yeah, because Colombia is very complicated. And I don't want to complicate my life that way.
Mm.
In the United States, you find like, yeah, it's complicated, but I think it's easier in terms of practicing accounting here. There are a ton of regulation in Colombia. So That's fine. I'm happy in the United States.
Love it.
Well, I have some questions. They're the hardest ones of the
Brutal.
whole podcast. What is your superpower?
Well, I think my superpower, oh my God, that's a tough question. Let me think, because I think as women, we have tons of superpowers. Okay. Um, but in terms of the entrepreneurial life, I think the superpower that I consider I have is that I finish what I start. I don't know how to say that in English in another
That's
word.
perfect.
No,
That's
I
perfect.
think you said it perfectly. Finish what you start.
Finish what you
I
start.
love it.
So you're very oriented.
Yes,
And
yes,
whatever
I
those
am.
goals are, you achieve them. So
Yes,
you kind of
definitely.
run
Tight
a
ship.
bulldozer to get to those. I can envision that.
You guys might get along, I think. Yeah.
So then I have one last question for you, and that is, what is your end game? You kind of alluded maybe to it, but what's your end game?
Oh my God, my end game. Well, I've thought about it a lot lately, okay? Because I think that entrepreneurs, they don't have an end game.
Ding
Because
ding ding ding.
Winner, winner.
because when you learn something, the only way you become an expert is by teaching it. So when you become an entrepreneur and you reach some of the, like, like this, I don't know how to say this, like the top of the top, let's call it that way. Then you start teaching it. Like, okay, do you want to learn how to do it? Or, you strategize with other people on how to do it. So you never stop. And I think when you stop doing what you love, or stop working, I think that's where you die.
Yep.
No, so it's funny because it makes people think, and you took it straight to the goal of what the question was, which was good job. But there is no end game for entrepreneurs because you can't stop doing something that you've become essentially an expert at and that you love and you have a passion for. It's just in your blood, and you can't take it out of you.
Hey,
There.
That's right.
why would you stop? You can impact and help so many others. Why would you just stop and do nothing? It seems like a waste as you spent the journey that you made or had to go through to get here. It just doesn't seem sporting. Maybe you don't work, 300 hours a week during tax season, but gosh, you don't have to give it up all at once, right? So that's
Right.
great. Well, I tell you, Olga, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast today. I hope our listeners got some great nuggets. I know I did. And again, the struggle is real, and that's what makes it what it is. And I think the theme is just never give up. Just keep
Well, I
going.
kind of envision her journey as we were kind of wrapping it up. As you know, we talk a lot about peaks and valleys, but we literally we kind of rode the waves with you today in regards to, all your peaks and valleys and how you got to where you are today. And I'm sure there'll be more because you can't have the peaks without those valleys. So
That's right.
Well, I just want to hear about the kids' concert at the office. I just want to know when that happens. And
we'll
you know,
come down and join.
yes,
We'll be the
yes.
spectators. We'll bring our laptop.
Definitely.
I'm not gonna sing. Olga, would you mind giving a plug to if our listeners want to get a hold of you or your company?
Of course. Well, we are, of course, in social media. Our Instagram is neat_books. And I also have a LinkedIn page that you can find me as Olga Hurtado. If you see my beautiful face. And we also have our website, www.neatbooksllc.com. You'll see there a lot of part of my story and how original is our website, because it has a little bit of a stamp of who we are and how we are, because we are not like these stiff accountants. We have fun.
Awesome.
Because numbers are fun. um so yes, you can contact me and connect with me in LinkedIn as well.
Awesome. Olga, appreciate you being on the show. Julie, what do you think? I'm Glenn Harper, another great addition.
Yes.
I guess that's that.
Well, you said my name. So
Well,
you
I
threw
was
me
thinking
off.
you
I'm
had
like,
something to say.
totally.
No, it's
I'm
all
like,
good.
all right.
Well, another great edition of the Empowering Entrepreneurs podcast. It's been a great one. We look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks.
Thank you.
Olga, that was great. Thank you. Great guest.
Thank you. I had so much fun with you guys.